Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Stellaris, the Wiley Warrior Clan playthrough series. I'm your host, College Fate. It's episode 9. It's the year 2357. This series is done because of our pal Wiley Garner, who was having trouble with Stellaris, left a long thread on one of my Stellaris videos, complaining about a lot of problems that they were having with the game, and now it makes so much more sense to me. I asked Wiley, can you please just tell me what particular species you're playing with? They gave me all the details of the species, and I built it verbatim, and we have seen why this species is so difficult to start the game with for a custom species. And so that's the great lesson here is don't try to learn Stellaris by creating your own species unless you actually know what you're doing. If you don't understand what traits and things to value, then you could potentially really harm your ability to learn the game, one, and two, have fun. And that was what we saw. It was a great amount of frustration at episode 5. But we're at episode 9 and we're making a comeback, and you can see it from our board up here. Everything is pretty positive, and now we have 144 alloys. And we're in a position where we can start building fleets and building some defensive bastions and diplomatic non-aggression pact from the Democratic Marine Mandate. I will agree to a non-aggression pact, but what I won't agree to is a defensive pact, because that's what got us into trouble in the first place. So, and been over here working on our worlds. I'm trying to and now we have a population growth that feels better because a lot of our planets finally have this. They have robot assembly plants, so that basically doubles your growth. They also have gene clinics and clone vats. So now we're really growing really well on our planets, on a lot of them, and that's pop growth is just so king. A research agreement with the Democratic Research, I would do that. We have technology mineral purification hubs. The Starhold, which is going to be habitats, are what we need next. So as much as I would like cruisers, and I do want them, it's time to start getting ready to make habitats. The thing with the habitats is the way these planets are done, because pop growth was so neutered and handicapped with this custom faction. What happened is we have uplifted. Okay, great. And so we uplifted a species. Because population growth was so hampered with this custom faction, we've had to invest a lot of infrastructure into things like robots and clone vats and gene clinics to get our growth up to speed, which has shorted us 3 spots on our planet that I would normally put in secondary resources, volatile gases, crystals. So since we don't have as much freedom on our planet, we don't have as many open tiles, we're going to need habitats to grow these secondary resources. Commercial pact invitation from the Democratic Marine Mandate. I'll agree with that as well. So here, for instance, these guys have this planet, Barana 3, has the clone vats, the gene clinics, the robot assembly plants. Every planet gets a commercial zone, and every planet gets an autochthon monument, and every planet gets a stronghold. So when you consider that with the capital, that's 7 slots taken up, plus the plus 25 for whatever district we're trying to boost. So that's 8 slots. So the first 8 slots of the planet don't even go to building what you're trying to build, which in our case here is, in this is administrative offices on this planet. So, and a migration treaty proposal from the Democratic, and that's fine as long as you don't want a defensive pact. We're cool. It's a defensive pact that I will not be doing. So, a rocky start to our uplifted species. They're still superior, and they're at war with the 001 and the Hazar Collective, because those guys have a defensive pact. We finally got our EQ Monopolist up and running, though, and that has been the big thing. Conscientious objectives. Okay, some issues have arisen on Barana as a result of the Moj Huxgon populace aversion to arms. A representative has made a formal request for clearly delineate demilitarized zone. Very well. They gain a pacifist effect, or they do this. They must learn that the specter of war looms over us all. That way they gain the militarist ethic. Here on this planet, what we've done is this has the mandatory 3 growth things and an autochthon monument. And this, it doesn't have yet a stronghold. And then the thing we're going to need the most is crystals. What we've done is, since we're going to be able to build all kinds of alloys over here, we've changed these to, well, we need to save one slot here for the Ministry of Production. But I'm going to put synthetic crystal plants down, and we'll take this alloy foundry here and change it to a Ministry of Production when we finally get that tag. According to reports, newly uplifted citizens grow anxious as their Wiley teachers bring up the likelihood of contact with as yet unknown entities from the far reaches of space. This will give them xenophile ethic. We don't want them to have the xenophobe ethic. So we'll do that. Make the right choices. You can get a species that helps you. And we're doing really good with money now, which is great. So any planet that we haven't already started to terraform, we probably need to, and I think they already are terraformed. And this one is a tropical world, and we can colonize this with the Wileys up here. So yes, this is Wicklar 4. So let's get that one done. We're finally under our empire sprawl for the first time in forever, which is great. You're done. You can go home. Peace between the Democratic Mirish Mandate and the 001. So now it's going to be on us. You guys are going to need more jobs, aren't you? And what you have is, you don't yet have commercial zones. We want that because we want trade everywhere. And here in Garner's Plight, in fact, one of the things is we don't have the research bonus thing, and so we're going to take away some of these clerk jobs, I think, and replace it with the research booster right there, the Research Institute. But in order to make up for that, since we have 4 exotic gases, we're going to raise this, and that'll help put people employed. There's an election coming up. We're starting to slowly creep up. We're not in the top 3 yet.
Scientific breakthrough achieved.
But now we're not quite on rock bottom, which is great. Research. I feel like we're making progress, and that's good. This costs motes, and we haven't used motes for anything, but we have none. So can't raise that up. This is so great. This is a relic world, and we're also going to put, this has great resource production on it. And as far as this goes, there's what? It says there's blockers, but this is, these blockers, I guess we can't get. This is so great for mass crystal mines, gas extraction wells, mote harvesting traps, and then a bunch of research. So we're just going to want to research. We're going to want to lay down lots of research on here, along with those secondary resources, which will take up half of these buildings. So 5 of these can be research, and
a new world has begun.
And another one can be the research bonus thing. So this will be, actually we're going to need the other thing too for the tech people. These planet. Okay. Well, what do we got here? Join them says, oh, it just unlocked its last thing. Okay. And consumer goods continue. The domestic order can sometimes give us the thing. You are granted 200 rare crystals in exchange for 2 pops. I don't want that. Not interested. Move on. Here, what we need is more of this. Civilian industries. Also, some more of those. We're going to want to take and do
Scientific breakthrough
cities for them. Habitat is finally unlocked. Awesome. Okay, so let's get ready to build a habitat. Would you like to build a habitat? Yes, it costs you 150 and 1500, which we have. So let's build a habitat over there. We got lots of candidates for habitats here, so we're just going to keep them in the home system. And that, because they're all going to get secondary resources, but those gas extraction wells, crystals, motes, but those only give 1 job each. So you have to find another building to also give jobs, and that's commercial zones, because they provide 5 clerk jobs. So that kind of becomes the combination there. Okay, this we said up here. I was thinking I wanted to grab one trade hub, another one of these. I wanted to do the deep space black site upgrade.
Scientific breakthrough.
This
achieved.
would make a lot of sense doing. Oh yeah, there's one more trade could grab the trade from here. So we're going to put one more trade there. And then another shipyard. And then over here, Fleet Academy would make the most sense. Okay. Regenerative hull tissue. We're going to want that because we're coming up on cruisers, which right behind that is going to be destroyers. So I want to get that. Mining station output for 8,000. Crystal infused plating. Let's just get that off of there. Here on this planet, our bureaucracy world, it has the 8 things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's the 8th one if you have a specialist building. So the rest of it can just be for bureaucracy. And we have closed borders from the Ishni Compact. Okay. This is our bastion up here that we're going to continue to build. So things we want to put here. We want the supercomputer, defense grid supercomputer. So since we don't have that yet, I'm not going to build that last thing on there. We got 2 spots where we have to build things, there and here. So we have to get these built. And we have to start getting, and our fleet power is pathetic, but it's not going to be for very long. In fact, what I want to do with this fleet is take a look at it. Yep, you might as well start building these now. Get the destroyers and the corvettes built. We're going to need a couple of fleets. We're going to need one up here that can take this back, that can sit here at this bastion, take these 2 spots back and start poking our way in here. I want to take this used to be all mine. I want this back. I would like to either cut them off or take all of this down to here. Come up through here and maybe choke them up. Well, it'd be nice if I could come down and meet them at Krant. And somewhere in here like 0. That's actually their homeworld. It'd be cool to get all of this and choke them off right there. But that seems pretty ambitious. So we'll see what we can do when we can get there. I don't care about Elgate Insights right now. They are not important. This planet says, yes, we said we were going to do research with it. That was going to be the big important thing. And it is. But also, mineral purification plants, because right now... Let's do that. And then the rest can be used for housing. I hope the folks watching this series are getting something out of it. So I didn't want to do this explicitly like a tutorial where I was very explicit about every single little decision that I was making, but I did want to make it so that I could explain it.
We have established a new planetary.
I want to
base.
explain a lot of things as I go along because I do feel it's important to explain as much as possible why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I felt like, I mean, right away I felt like our species wasn't great. I didn't feel like this was a great species to start with because of certain things, certain traits that it started with and certain civics, but I feel like overcoming a bad start is a really cool thing, and I feel like we've done that to a huge margin, and so I hope that a lot of this has made sense. Okay, I hope people have got something out of this. So this is in the EQ sector, this new planet, Wicklar 4. You can do mining with this one, and because it's got so many districts, we can do mining and then probably energy with it. So I'm going to say this is going to be a little different than normal. I'm going to go ME, and then let's do C for consumer goods. Mech. I like that because I like mechs. You guys know I like mechs from Battletech, from all the Battletech I've been playing. There's a bunch of people here that we can start to move around to another planet instead of upgrading this. So let's see who we can resettle where. What do we have? We have a robotic miner that we can move to a mining planet like Wicklar because it's going to have mining. We have Garner people that we can just move to anywhere, and so the best place to move them is the EQ Monopolis. So and that's fantastic. That takes care of that. On this planet, we're not going to move anybody because in one more citizen they're going to be able to unlock yet another building slot. Here they unlock 2 more citizens. They'll be able to unlock another building slot. So okay, Penal Colony. We're going to need all this though: naval capacity and fleet. I know. Oh, starbase capacity. We're going to take that because right now we're 1 over, and that'll ease some of the burden on this cost. We also can finally start selling some food. I think we might as well start doing that. I'd like to not be buying anything. So that's one of our goals, is to get to the point where we're not buying anything at all. This planet, we still haven't decided what we're going to do with it, because the first thing to do always is get it growth going. So what are we going to want? Well, as always, consumer goods are real big, and the EQ Monopolis kind of takes care of our ally problems. So that means when it comes to buildings, we can do one of 2 things: consumer goods or research. Right now we only have 2 research planets, and I'd kind of like, well, we have 3. So since we're going to have 3, I feel a little better. 0-point reactor. The Citadel, here we go. Cruiser, we need to start building those. So yeah, because Garner's planet, our main homeworld, is a research planet. And then over here we have this one also here, Fen Heavens. Now it hasn't started generating any research yet. And then way down here in Roganoid is going to be a research planet as well. Although I'm rethinking that. This doesn't have enough districts to be a research planet, because you're going to have to waste a bunch of housing on luxury resources. So we're going to change this to that. So now we only have 2. This one could be research because there are a lot of districts here. This one's not set up for research. This one's not either. You got to have a lot of housing districts because you're going to upgrade your research buildings twice from the initial 2 jobs to 5 jobs to 8 jobs. And that means that's 8 for each building slot here. That's 8 people you have to house. So you have to have enough housing districts for this. So I think the safe thing to do is turn this into the 3rd research world, Wicklar 4. This will be our 3rd research world because we need to crank up this number. All right, and then somebody died. Envoy died, and so it automatically gets replaced by somebody else. This is the point where the only thing, so we have commercial zones, we have the 3 growers, we have the autochthon monument. What we don't have, which every planet gets, is a stronghold, and then the last slot has to be saved for a Ministry of Production. Market fee reduced by 10%, so that'll give us an ascension person.
The conquest of a new world has begun.
Yeah, so every single one of these planets needs a stronghold. I'm just going to start putting them on planets where I can. Yeah, because every planet gets one. That's the only way. I've learned the hard way. You have to put down fortresses on every single planet you have. Sometimes every 2 on a planet, depending on how big you want your army to be. And same thing with habitats. You got to have one on every habitat too. And some habitats you can just load up with as many fortresses as your population will allow. That's how you get this number really, really big. That's what allows you to have so many fleets. Just so many. So we will continue to move people over to the EQ Monopolis as they are. And see, this is a metallurgist, which is perfect. It created a metallurgist, so we're like, hey, you can go to the EQ Monopolis. In fact, if we have any metallurgists anywhere else, nope. You guys are unemployed robot farmers. You could go to somewhere where there's farming. Oh, but it'll cause a building decline, so we don't want that to happen. Yeah, we'll just wait for these planets to Earthquake. Oh, recent tectonic event on Wicklar. Boo. So this place right here has a shipyard. And I'm not sure that that's the best shipyard in the world, but it can feed this right here. So that's probably good for it to have it. So let's keep upgrading that one. This could collect 2 trade in addition to what it's doing, and it's also going to need to collect trade from these worlds when we can finally defeat the void spawn. So let's get that set up. This bashing, I'm going to upgrade all of these because there's no sense in not upgrading them and then adding more hangars and just really making this whole thing protective. So this finally upgrades another slot. This doesn't have a stronghold, so you get one of those. And then as we get secondary resources, these require crystals, and we now have 8. So if we want to employ more people, we can employ 3, 6. Yeah, and that's going to employ 2. That should take care of some unemployment problems for us. We're on battleship, great. Cruiser hit points. Let's do that first. Let's build some cruisers. Let's go up here to the cruiser, and yeah, it's always nice to have okay. Picket defense, broadside bow. What do I want on there? This is a picket ship basically, and what I'm gonna do with this is probably regenerative hull tissue and then auxiliary fire control. So I'm going to give this picket tactics. It's going to get 1 flak and 1 sentinel point defense. And then for up close, the Ripper autocannon has great accuracy and great tracking. So it's either that or disruptor, because this has 100% accuracy and 600 tracking, and it has shield penetration. This does 10 to 21 damage, and this does 1 to 18. It's just a matter of what you want to do. Sometimes what I like to do is put them like right there. And then on these front ones, actually for picket defense, I think because of the accuracy situation, I'm just going to do those guys, disruptors, and this will be my picket ship. And then I like to do this. And then what do we have here? These are mediums. 275 points for that, or 215 for that. So instead of using more armor, we're going to use more hull. And these also have hull. So we have no armor. We have a bunch of hull hit points. We have some hull regen and shields. And I'm going to call this a cruiser point defense. Auto upgrade. Save it. So that becomes our cruiser for point defense. We're not going to have a lot of these. The big thing is we want this. So this is what we're going to work with. Railgun. And then as things get closer, plasma rifles. So here's my basic logic for how this works. And regenerative hull tissue, fire control to make things slightly more accurate. This is just going to be kinetic. And we're going to tell it, this is line tactic, ship fire rate, but these have a great distance on them, which is 100. So right here, ship weapon range, right there. The theory is these things are going to stay at line distance. Ship will stay at long range, 80, and fire its long range weapons on the target. But eventually, the enemy's little smaller ships or other ships are going to get closer because they're going to close the distance because maybe they don't have the same AI or they're smaller ships or whatever. The hope is that by the time they close the distance, everybody's big kinetic weapons have ripped their shields off and all that's left is armor and hull, at which point these fire from shorter range and they do bonus damage to armor and hull. And that's why I build my ships that way. Alright. So now you know the reason for that. I'm going to do this fleet here, and I'm going to say what I want for you is you have a bunch of little point defense destroyers. So what I'd really like for you to do is have a bunch of cruisers, and you can have one more of these, and then we're going to say go. And then we're going to start building the second fleet. And we're going to build that second fleet like up here. And we'll start with 2 corvettes, and then we'll go into the fleet designer and do that. Okay, this, yes, you're here, and what we need from you now is the 3rd thing to help make you grow. Gene clinics. Great. Over here, you have the top 3. Awesome. So we're going to give you an energy grid, so you can start making use of this. You are a relic world that we're going to put a ton of research on. And of course it's making that noise because of this. We could just go in here and buy a bunch of minerals. Where are we at here? Yeah, we need to get rare crystals. So this planet, since it doesn't have a lot of districts, I think the safe thing to do is put it for consumer goods. So mining and consumer goods. And the Ecumenopolis is, oh, this is great. This is so fantastic. Oh, it's a thing of beauty. And then I was saying, in order to get ourselves out of this problem is build 3 of those. And then just keep shuffling people off to the Ecumenopolis as much as we can. Which if we had government power in the Senate, we could get greater than ourselves up and be kind of fantastic. I'm going to move some of their clerks until they run out of buildings. Decline. There we go. I'm going to move those guys off. Not moving you guys because you'll lose a building, and I don't want that to happen. But that helps move some people to the Ecumenopolis and give them some jobs. The Vengrillian Triumph, what do they want us to do? 1 Triumph food container deployment for a bunch of influence. And what is it to? Air dropped onto the colony of your choice. These semi-transparent lidded containers hermetically sealed, cooked or raw foods, keeping the contents fresh for longer. This is the perfect way to preserve leftovers, blah, 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 blah. All this. One-time delivery to a single colony. Pop food upkeep. Oh, I don't care about that. Not interested. So here on this planet,
We have established a new
make
planetary
robots,
base.
change you to a mining world. We have established a new planetary base. Good. Colony, mining. So this is Barana 4, and this is one of those planets where we could potentially put research on it, but what's it do? Biological pop happiness, lithoid, physics researchers from jobs, society research from jobs. This question has been decided. You will be a research planet. And that is why you will be a research planet, because you have good bonuses. And then on planets, we're going to distribute some luxury goods, but we're short on them. We're going to hope that we can fix that problem soon without having to buy more. Where is that one at? Owler. Oh yeah, this. Upgrade this. Okay. Habitability, caravanners, thieves. I hate those guys for doing that. But from beneath the waves, the colonizers on Wicklar 4 regularly explore the planet in hopes of finding more resources to help with day-to-day life. A recent expedition to the North Pole has now unveiled a large object on the bottom of the ocean. An alien battle cruiser. Oh yes, try and salvage it. Okay. The Alien Zoo. That's nice job. This project, Alien Battle Cruiser. Where is that? Any current engineering will be put on hold.
Construction complete.
Yes. And who died? Scientist. Plume of Magenta. What? This is survey speed, which I don't care about. Where's Plume of Magenta? Right there. Was helping this.
Construction complete.
Assist with the research and make some levels. Okay, yeah.
Scientific breakthrough achieved.
The Alien Zoo. Ecological adaptation. Fleet command limit. Farming subsidy at the food processing facility. That's what I want. So, this is all very
Scientific breakthrough
delicious.
achieved.
It's very As we continue to move along here.
Construction complete.
I like it. Okay, so on this bastion over here, yep, just... And what you can do is put an anchorage on there in that last slot. The Birabit habitat is complete. Yay! Okay, so now we can colonize it with our peoples. And we're going to call this Hab A.
Construction complete.
And we say, you want to build another habitat? And build one right there.
Construction complete.
Let's build it over mining. You can build it over research, and you get some buildings there. So this is this habitat.
Scientific breakthrough achieved.
Food processing. Yay, Paradise Dome. We're going to need that in a couple of places. So let's grab it. I feel better. I feel better already. Things are better. Okay, you guys. Are you a full fleet? Yeah, you just need to be upgraded. Once you're upgraded, we're going to move you up here to Samdarin system, which is your home base. Up here, you folk, let's do the same thing with you. Let's do fleet manager. We're going to give you, you don't need many of these destroyer point defense. So let's do this.
Special project complete.
We want a bunch of... Okay, great. Attempt to salvage the giant ship that was found has yielded some insight into the ship's design. The ship's maneuvering algorithms are easily transferable to our own hardware, enabling our fleets to become swifter and more energy efficient. Your Empire gains the streamlining algorithms modifier. I want to know what that looks like. So, reinforce fleet. I want to know what that streamlining algorithms modifier is. Evasion, plus 10%. Oh, very nice. Excellent. That's cool. These take crystals to upgrade, and right now we're at 4 rare crystals. So let's give you guys an additional 3 jobs there. Crackdown. While it cannot be denied that the intoxicating effects of Barana's atmosphere are enjoyable, even helpful in some cases, there is pressure from more conservative parts of the Wiley warrior clan to crack down on possibly addictive gases. If you don't shut it down now, you end up having to shut it down later. So. I like having the ability to build things because we finally have alloys. Man, that was just a really, really crummy start to that whole deal. It was just, it was crummy. Off-road trading company here because they're going to be collecting a lot of trade from these places, so I'll do that. And I need to know where this wormhole's going. So when we...
Special project.
Marvelous. Ah, fresh air. Good.
The conquest of a new world has begun. Our ships have been made superior.
Good. Ships that have been made superior, I want you to return home.
Scientific breakthrough achieved.
Ion disruptor. Oh yeah, proton launchers. We're going to want those. Food. No, we don't need to sell so many food. We knew this was going to happen. Come a point in our empire. Oh, look. Because we got that Ecumenopolis thing happening, boom. Consumer goods taken care of. Stop buying them. We could probably stop buying these too. Alloys. It's very nice. Although buying alloys is probably actually a really good idea to keep doing. We're going to need clone armies and gene warrior armies, so let's do these. I think it's probably a good idea to keep buying as much of this as we can, actually. So, I'm going to do
scientific breakthrough achieved.
As much as we can buy these, we probably should, because we just need to keep cranking out alloys. They're the difference maker. The Citadel, the civilian replica complexes, mining output, that's cheap. It doesn't take a lot of research to finish that. So let's do that.
Construction complete.
Declaration of war. Well, that's not nice. Here I was trying not to kick you guys' butts, and I wasn't ready for that. Well, now we have to fight. Okay, then. This bastion right here. What I'm gonna do is sell. I'm gonna sell a bunch of food because I have a bunch of food to sell. I'm gonna buy as many alloys as I can afford to. 5.3 is the unit price. Keep that up. We're gonna go for edicts. We're gonna say focusing crystals for energy weapon damage. We need that. How many crystals do we have in our bank? 741. All right. Crystalline sensors. I'm not so concerned about that. Volatile reactive armor. Motes. How many motes do we have? A lot. Good. Anything that uses motes we can use. Volatile reactive armor. Volatile explosives. Explosive weapon damage. We're not using a lot for explosives. In fact, I'm not sure we have any on ours yet. Kinetic weapon, though, is big. Exotic gas for shield boost. Yes. Exotic gases as fuel. Sublight speed. Yes. We're going to need to be fast. The education campaign for leader experience gain. Recycling campaign. Not as big of a deal now. Okay, and then the rest of these are influence based. Fortify the border. Starbase. Upgrade speed 50% and starbase capacity plus 2 Empire Sprawl from systems plus 10. Fleet to supreme starting ship experience 100. Ship build speed 10%. Diplomatic weight from fleet power. I need this. It will put our empire over the ACAP and increase our Empire Sprawl. Yes. I don't know exactly. 20. It puts our sprawl quite a bit over, doesn't it? We're going to take this one and turn it off. Okay. And then we need to start giving you some platforms. So let's take a look at. They're a mix. Disruptors, not a lot of kinetic damage. And then they're a mix of what? Shields and armor. Yeah, they're just a mix. So let's mix it up. Let's go. Let's poke through any of their shields. Point defense. Kinetic. That. Let's just build everything. Yep. Because we can build everything. And same thing here. You guys have to get there as fast as possible. Hurry up, buggers. Just as soon as I had sent you guys there, they decided to declare war. Turkeys. Okay. Elections for a new strategos. So ship build speed, ship upkeep, ship build speed, ship build cost. This would be great guy to have. And he's got what? Leader experience gain, starbase module cost. I want him. So I'm going to spend the points to elect him. Yeah, we're at war again. Okay, this is consumer goods. It's not as big of a deal now because we did a little bit with the Ecomonopolis, but the stronghold there would be helpful. Food. You don't have a stronghold yet, so you get one. You can put somebody to work in a clerk job there. Same thing with you, clerk jobs. Alright, let's do this.
We are tracking an enemy fleet.
I know we are, but let's see. What are they? How superior are they? Overwhelming. Okay. Well. Your home base is going to be Urogla. Right there. And 2 ships will be upgraded. Okay.
Our ships have been made superior.
And then I need you to reinforce your fleet. Okay, we were buying these. We don't need to buy these anymore. This gets us where something that doesn't even matter. So let's finish it because we're going to want Galactic Wonders and Master Builders, which is going to cost us 2. And then Evolutionary Mastery is going to get us 3rd. So that means the 4th one here could be anything. It can be Voidborn, which I don't care about. Shared Destiny, Transcendent Learning, I don't care about. Executive Vigor, I don't care about. Edict Capacity +2 would be kind of nice, actually. One Vision. Galactic Contender. Eternal Vigilance, Starbase Damage +25, Starbase Hull Points. Starbase, that might be nice right now. Defender of the Galaxy, Galactic Force Protection, Enigmatic Engineering. Oh yeah, our technology and engineering is Cherokee. Well, we're not far enough ahead of everybody for that to matter, so we're gonna wait on that Ascension perk for a little bit. Oh look, they're gonna come in through there. Oh, son of a... And they're huge. They're absolutely huge. It's a 20k fleet. Oh, man. Wow. These guys have been such a serious thorn in my side. Oh my gosh. I took that bastion off there because I never thought that they'd come in through here. Wow. Wow, I'm stunned. I'm not quite sure what to do about that. I mean, I don't want to get rolled, but it looks like I'm gonna. What was there? They got the Hazard Collective. Jeez. And they're vassal. Wow. Claims. I'm not sure what to do about that. I mean, that doesn't seem... It doesn't seem like there's much of a chance here. That's kind of the problem, is that you're looking at an engagement where you're staring at the group of people on the other side of the field and you're saying, oh, they're so much bigger and stronger than us. And we can't run. We can't run, and we can't just cry uncle and say, make us a satrapy. Make us your vassal for a while. Here I thought we were doing good. That's insane. Like, we're gonna lose our homeworld right here. They're gonna take all of this from us, probably.
We have established a new planetary
Oh
base.
gosh, they're bringing... Yeah, right there. All we can do is build corvettes as fast as possible. Try to kill that. Oh my gosh. It just... That's a nightmare. That's a nightmare. Wow. Can we... Is there any possible way... there's cruisers being built. How soon are they? 20 days away? Is there any possible way that going in here and fighting these guys in that area would cause them to leave? These cruisers to finish. Okay, Dylan. Gosh. Just... here they come.
Initiating tactical retreat.
Yeah, I'd like you to kill these guys. Oh, we just got blitzed.
We are tracking an enemy fleet.
20k and a 16k fleet. Okay. Deep breaths.
Our enemies hurl themselves at one of our planets.
Deep breaths. What do they got coming in here? 41,000. 41,000? What? What? 41,000. Oh, man. There's no way to surrender, is there? Yeah, because if we surrender, I think we die automatically. We can't settle for the status quo. They get what? Wickler and one more. Oh, brother. 41,000. Oh, man. Yeah, I want these. Get all this stuff. That's just...
The enemy dares to occupy one of our planets.
Yeah, they do. Oh my gosh, we just never had a chance, did we? Garner got taken over. That's...
Construction
cruddy.
complete.
That's pretty cruddy. Well, I was thinking this would be one of the greatest comebacks of all time, but I think the lesson here is if you handicap yourself
Scientific breakthrough
this poorly
achieved.
with these kinds of bozos
Construction complete.
right next to you. I mean, these guys are just... They're, what do these guys do? 24,000. They're not coming over here.
Scientific breakthrough achieved.
I think the lesson is pretty clear here. You can't afford... You can't afford a slow start. You can't do it. It puts you at too great of a disadvantage. It significantly hurts your ability to fight back, to create some kind of even footing. You know, that's what these wars, when they get this lopsided, there's not much you can do when they get that lopsided. I mean, when you're staring at a 15,000 fleet of your own and they got a 40,000, oh look, you guys are getting smoked. You're getting smoked. I mean, that's tough. That's really tough to watch. That's really hard to watch. Like, I just don't really have the stomach for that. I mean, that was... Jeez, wow. That was embarrassing. Gosh. I don't... There they go. They're getting on my habitat now.
Our enemies hurl themselves at one of our planets.
Well, I wonder if it's even possible to recover from this. It doesn't seem like it would be. I mean, I expect to just flat out lose this pretty soon. Imagine if we could not get wiped out here and actually come back from it.
Scientific breakthrough achieved.
It's listening to her go on and on about the scientific breakthroughs is cracking me up like they matter. I mean, they just don't. Nothing matters now. We're getting absolutely ripped. Absolutely ripped. I just don't. You have to give in these
scientific breakthrough
in these
achieved.
4X games like this, you have to give yourself a chance to get ahead of your enemies and stay ahead of them, because coming from behind is clearly not something you can do. You can't do that. You can't come from behind. It's not possible. It's just not possible. You see an enemy like this that's overwhelming. How on earth are you supposed to fight that? You know, we tried going diplomatic with it. We were like, oh hey, let's throw can I sue for peace? I can't. All I can do is surrender, and I don't want to do that. The game will be over. Send an envoy. We are at war with them. Yeah. Strategos Wing of Maroon has died, so now there's another election. Colony builds. We don't really care so much about that. Yeah, ship weapon damage. Not that it's going to matter. These guys are going to come in here and just own us. This is all... This is all too bad. This is just not anything that... Not anything we can do about. There's just nothing you can do about this. We're going to lose our best core systems, which will be very difficult to overcome. Yeah, I'd like to see a Senate resolution that decided that the 001 sequence was somebody that we should probably not. The whole galaxy probably needs to team up and beat up on them. But it's just, we had to land right next door to these guys, didn't we? And we had to have we had to start with a species that was not good. And we had to be handicapped. And so it's a bummer. It's a bummer. Mining world. Who else died? Scientist died. Okay, well. And an admiral, Feathers, died. Yeah, because here they come. They're just gonna roll right up in here. Wow. I can't send off or settle status quo. Can I just... He's like, nope. Nope. They want... insufficient parameters. Well, I've never played a game all the way. Well, I've never played a game all the way till losing, except for one time during a Newbie tutorial. My most popular Newbie tutorial series that ended, I think, after 11 episodes, when I chose the surrender option here, not knowing that it would cause me to actually lose the whole game. So this is not an option. So playing until there's an actual end, until I actually get completely destroyed, will be very interesting. I don't want to lose all these things, but the Ecumenopolis is possibly safe.
We are tracking an enemy fleet.
12,000 there. How many? Yeah, you guys. We got 5.5k.
Scientific breakthrough achieved.
Naval capacity, which is going to mean nothing because right as we were starting to get stronger and maybe just needed another 20 years or so. Yeah, that's too bad. Too bad. Attackers, Planet 001 Sequence 4 gets a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to choose this option ever again because as far as I know, it just automatically means you lose the game. They take over everything. I don't want to surrender. I just want to have the game end where it is, but it's not going to work. So let's do this. And I'm going to lose my fleet here soon, aren't I? Because it's 18,000. You guys are at 7.8, which is nothing. And we're hemorrhaging so much money that there's just no way we can survive this.
We are tracking an enemy fleet.
Wow. Well, if you ever wanted to see what it was like to just completely get curbstoned, I really thought that after episode 5 I could recover from this. Oh, and who is this? This is Hazar Collective. Oh, vassals. The vassals are getting... I really thought we had a chance to come back from this, but my thinking was we had to keep these guys at peace, which is why I gave them an envoy, because I really seriously thought that making them friendly. I didn't think at minus 200 or 128 or wherever it was, I didn't think that was going to be enough to cause them to go to war. I was really surprised that they went to war with us. So, I mean, it was a smart decision on their part. You should always attack an inferior opponent. You absolutely should. If you know they're weak, you got to go after them.
A fleet has made ultimate sacrifice. I'm
not mad at the AI for doing this. They're doing the smart thing, really. I'm surprised they didn't go at me sooner because I was really weak before.
A new conflict has erupted.
But
we are tracking an enemy fleet.
But I did expect that having the envoy and keeping them peaceful for a while would buy me enough time to be able to get strong, and that didn't happen. So
we are tracking an enemy fleet.
I don't know what to do here other than surrender and say I'm toast. I kind of want to play this out.
Tracking an enemy fleet.
I kind of want to play this out until it gets to status quo.
We are tracking
because what I want to see is what can I be left with. I don't think I'm going to be left with anything, but
initiating tactical retreat. Our science ship has been ambushed.
Yeah. I'm curious about.
Our enemies hurl themselves at one of our planets.
Yeah, they're coming to finish this off. Oh, there's an alien zoo alive.
Dares to occupy one of our planets.
Yeah, we're just not going to be left with anything, are we? We're going to be completely destroyed here pretty soon. There's no way for us to get to status quo before they destroy us, I don't think. I'm pretty sure that we're just going to be conquered fully. But that's okay. As our collective are way down in the bottom. But they're kicking butt because they're a vassal. We're way over here at number 7. I really thought, wow, I thought we had a chance. We're half as strong as these guys, but really we might as well have been. You know, it says, I mean, now everybody's overwhelming because we lost all our fleets. I mean, this is just, it's impossible to know how much overwhelming they were, but the fact that they were overwhelming, there's no defense against that.
Scientific breakthrough achieved.
And I'm not sure what our defense. Well, look, our science has dropped down below 1K. I'm not sure what we could have. Here's the thing that I have a problem with in games like this when this happens is I'm not sure what we could have done differently. I'm not sure what I could have done differently in this whole scenario to make this not happen. Because I thought I was doing the smart thing by sending an envoy to them and trying to reduce this. Now, I don't know. Should I have sent all my envoys to them? Would that have made it, if I'd have sent all 3 of my envoys to them, would that have made enough of a difference to allow us to gain enough strength for this not to happen? I can tell you that that'll be something I'll try next time if I find myself in the situation, because I really can't see anything else that I could have done different. You're constrained by what you can build by what's up here. And we spent so much time trying to recover and make this all black and not red to get ourselves in the black that I thought I was playing well. And really, I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like it's a little upsetting that you can play as well as you can play, but it doesn't really matter how well you play when your immediate neighbor is overwhelming. So if there's no moves that I could have made to prevent this from happening, then
we are tracking an enemy.
Then what's the point? I mean, if you go back through, if you go, like, game theory is basically a type of graph theory, and if you go through the decision tree of all of the game graph on this, what you can go all the way back to is we started with a faction that was not good. So if the game is saying that you have to have a good faction to have a chance, and that there's no way to overcome a bad faction, I'm not sure that that's very good game design, because it's basically saying that if you start down here on the graph, the decision graph, and there's no way for you to get to a good decision, there are only bad outcomes because you started with this crappy faction, then that means you have to have a good faction and you have to have a good start in order to have a chance to win, because no amount of good playing can make up for a bad faction to start with. And I'm not sure I think that is very good game design. If you can't overcome mistakes, if you have to play flawlessly on... the game is almost like a no-limit hold'em tournament. You have to basically play flawless and get a little lucky in order to get to the end and win. And if at any point in time you don't play flawlessly, you're screwed. You're out. I'm having a real hard time digesting what's happening here, because it just doesn't feel like there's... When you play, it doesn't... Let me finish that thought. It doesn't feel like there's anything I could have done differently to not have this outcome. That's the part that I'm having a problem with. In any other video game you play, role-playing games, first-person shooters, story-driven games, Dark Souls,
we are tracking an enemy.
You know when you've screwed up.
Our enemies hurl
and you say to yourself, oh, okay, well, I'm going to roll back to a previous save, and I'm going to try a different strategy. I'm going to not make that mistake that I did.
Have destroyed our construction ship.
And so you go back and you say, okay, I know what I could have done differently to have a better outcome. And that is even pretty obvious in, like, the BattleTech game that I play, or XCOM. You can go into XCOM 2 and you can say, oh, yeah, I shouldn't have moved that last soldier. I should have hunkered down, or I should have waited an extra turn to pop that extra pod, or whatever. There's all kinds of things that you can go through on the decision tree and say, I know what I should have done differently. I know what I could have done differently. I didn't play as good as I possibly could have, and so I should have done something differently to get a better outcome. But this doesn't feel like there's anything I could have done differently to get a better outcome other than maybe hurling all 3 envoys at these guys to try and make them not attack me. But I don't know if that would have worked, and I'm playing on Iron Man, so I can't go back to a previous save and try it out. I know that, again, next time I find myself next to a Gestalt consciousness like this that's quickly deteriorating, I will be chasing envoys trying to figure out, can I hurl all 3 envoys at this and keep my nearest neighbor from attacking me? Because if I can do that, then...
Our enemies hurl themselves.
If I could have prevented them from attacking me, we could have continued to build. We were building a stronger empire. It was way stronger than it was in episode 5.
We are tracking an enemy fleet.
And we were slowly building strength, which was great. But that strength was balanced precariously on the single concept that we needed to not go to war. Everything was predicated on us not going to war. And I don't know what other mechanisms we had at our disposal to prevent war. And obviously, choke points, they meant nothing. I mean, I didn't have enough alloys. I don't have enough choke points. There were 3 of them. I didn't think this was going to be an issue. But even if I would have had... Here's the thing. You can play What If all day long, and in a different type of game, in a role-playing game or in XCOM, you can play What If, and you know that if you made different decisions, you'd have had a better outcome. But play What If here. Even if I would have had a Bastion here, and even if I would have had all 12 defenses on it, and even if I would have had my fleet there, they had a 40k fleet right here. They were just going to waltz in here and mow over this. So there's nothing I could have done differently from a fleet perspective or a bastion or a choke point perspective, and that is the thing that you will hear the most on the Facebook forums and Reddit and the Steam pages when people say, well, how do I stop this sort of bad outcome from happening? And everybody's like, oh, well, just set up choke points.
We are tracking an enemy fleet.
Your choke points and your fleets mean nothing if your enemy is so overwhelmingly powerful to you that they can just waltz in there and mow them down. So that's what you call non-specific bad blanket advice. Oh, just make choke points. You're not paying attention to the problem when you say that.
We are tracking
this problem couldn't have been fixed by a choke point down here, because we didn't possess the power to defend against that.
The cowards have destroyed our
I'm a problem solver, especially at my own job, my real world job. And whenever it comes to trying to solve a problem, the first thing I'm looking at is what is the root cause of the problem? Because if you fix that, then you fix every other problem that shows up downstream of the root cause. It's not enough to fix the problem closest to you. You got to go way upstream and find the root cause and fix that. And what I'm seeing in this particular playthrough is the root cause of all of this was this faction. These guys handicapped us from the start and did not allow us to build up the lead that we needed to stay ahead of these guys. But that, to me, signals, to some degree, a fundamental flaw in the game design itself. If you have to get out to a lead, if there's no other way to win without getting out to a lead early and maintaining the lead, if your game is designed such that the only way for you to win is to be a front runner, I'm not sure that's a good game design. I mean, how many horses have won the Kentucky Derby coming from behind, or the Belmont Stakes? You know? I've always thought it was really fun, I've always thought it was really fun to come from behind and come from a bad start and win. And that happened with my Tony Stark playthrough, Stark Enterprises playthrough that I did several months ago on here, and you can find that on my channel. I had a really bad start, and I had some pretty hostile neighbors and marauder clans and all kinds of trouble, and I got out of it. This is my second time playing version 2.7.2, and The previous to that was the driven simulators on a very small map, so I don't think that's indicative of the game as a whole. And this is unpleasant. I mean, what's going on right here is very unpleasant, and I don't think what's going on right here with my empire and being squashed by an enemy that is so superior to us, with no end in sight and with no recourse for how to get out of it. We can't settle for status quo. We can't tell them. All we can do is surrender and make the game be over.
The enemy dares to occupy one of our planets.
I don't see how this is fun. I also don't see how there's any way to get out of this. So I don't know. This is really making me question. This is making me question a lot of things. It's making me question my devotion to playing Stellaris. It's making me question why anybody would want to play on a higher difficulty level. I'm playing on Captain with scaling, and this happened. Did I make so many bad decisions? Am I just that bad of a player? Did I make so many bad decisions that we could go back in time and say, oh God, if you'd made any other number of decisions, this wouldn't happen? I don't think so.
We are tracking an enemy
Which makes me go back to the idea that the faction was just so handicapped that there was no way to win with it. But I don't like that idea. I don't like the idea that you can't make any combination of a faction and still overcome its weaknesses to win. So either you can make whatever faction you can dream up, and strong play will overcome its weaknesses even on higher difficulty levels, or I'm a way worse Stellaris player than I thought I was. And if that's the case, I'm not sure that I care to invest any more time in the game, because I'm not going to get any better at it. I don't see how I could have done anything significantly better to prevent this from happening. So at this point in time, I'm just letting the game continue on, but I don't know that I don't know that it's going to come to a stop here anytime soon. I kind of thought it was, but are these conquered planets now? How do I tell if it's conquered or not? The planet is occupied by the 001, so who's not occupied? These guys aren't yet. These guys are.
The enemy dares to occupy one.
Our Ecumenopolis is about to be destroyed. So, yeah, So Wiley, this is for Wiley. Wiley was the one who wanted help.
The enemy dares to occupy one.
Wiley had a lot of questions in that thread, saying, "Well, how do I do this? And how do I do that? And how do I do this? And how do I do that?" And he or she, they seemed very frustrated. And I was thinking that it was just their lack of skill playing the game, their lack of experience playing the game, that was the problem. And I thought, well, I can just take any old faction and show you how to play it, show you what's important in the game. And now I'm questioning my ability to do that, because this same faction has ripped me a new one, Wiley. So I can only draw two conclusions from this. The first conclusion is that this faction is so significantly flawed that you or I cannot possibly win with it. That's how flawed it is. The other conclusion I come to is that I know you don't know anything about the game because you just started playing it. I must not know very much about the game either, because I got my butt kicked with this faction. So, and that's the only other conclusion I can come to, is that I'm not a good Stellaris player, because I could not take this faction and win with it. Now, somebody's going to say something to the extent that they're going to say something like, well, you did start right next, the 001 showed up right next door to you. That's a bad start. Sure. But that's one of the things I've enjoyed with the game up to this point in time, is that even if you have a bad start, as long as you do things right, you can survive it. There's no surviving this. So I'm not sure.
Our enemies hurl themselves at one of our
I don't see how we could have done anything different to win. And if we couldn't do anything different to win,
the enemy dares to occupy one of our
well, and that's good. How many planets do they have left to occupy? 1, 2, 3, 4. They're about to occupy the Ecumenopolis. So I really want to see what happens when they completely occupy all my planets, because the status quo is still unacceptable. And they say, no, our war goal is to completely crush you, I guess. Like, I can't imagine somebody playing on Grand Admiral, even with scaling. I'm not sure I understand. It does. Here's one of the things that this makes me curious about, especially people playing on much higher difficulty levels with scaling. Are you such a good player that this sort of situation can never happen to you? Like with this faction on captain difficulty with scaling. That's what I played on. Are you so good that nothing can happen to you? Or there are other possibilities. Or are you using mods to unfairly tip the favor in your balance, so you have to play on Grand Admiral to have any kind of a challenge at all? Or are you using some kind of exploit? Because I have no desire to modify the gameplay at all. And I have no desire to use any kind of exploit. I've always been an anti-exploit player. I hate that. I hate exploits. So if you're not using an exploit and you're not using a mod and you're just playing the game this way, are you playing on Grand? Are you making sure that I don't know. I don't know what's. I don't understand. I don't understand how people can do that. I don't know how. I mean, this is captains with scaling on, and this happened to me with this faction. Is this? What are people doing when they're playing on Grand Admiral? What are they doing that's allowing them to do that? There has to be. I mean, I thought I understood this game. I thought I understood
scientific
math and numbers and bonuses and stacking and all these kinds of. I'm questioning a lot about my ability with the game right now with this happening. It's just, I don't. What's going on right here is making me not want to play any more Stellaris at all. And I know it's a big draw to my channel, but it's just like, I'm thinking, why? Because this has made me question all of my previous victories too. It's made me think, well, are they legit victories, or are they just because the game is designed for you to be a front runner and win as a front runner? So have I just been a really good front runner all the time? I've just always got a good enough start to get out in front and stay out in front and then steamroll? Because that's the same problem I have with Galactic Civilizations 3, is that there's no way to overcome handicaps in that game. Especially because the factions in Galactic Civilizations 3 are about as hostile as the 001 is in this particular playthrough. And they're all that way in Galactic Civilizations 3. And so if you can't get a good start, you can't overcome the weakness of it. You can't overcome the weakness of a bad start. So if you don't get a good start and you don't get out in front and you don't stay out in front as a front runner, you're screwed. And I'm finding the more I play 4X games that seems to be the case. If you're not a front runner, if you can't give yourself an advantage, if you can't give yourself an advantage to get out in front and stay out in front, then you're going to lose over time. You're going to lose and you're going to get overwhelmed and you're going to be destroyed. There's no way for you to survive not being a front runner.
The enemy dares to occupy one of
I
our
thought that
planets.
there actually was a way for that to happen, because I think the Stark playthrough, the Stark Enterprises playthrough I did a few months ago, gave me a false sense of
Our enemies
being
hurl
able to come
themselves into
back
one of our
from.
planets. The enemy dares to occupy
Yes,
one
they
of
do.
our
Now
planets.
it's almost complete. There's only this one over here. This one. This is it.
Incoming transmission.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So, peace offer. Greetings. Conquer. Okay. So what happens? Defeated by the 001. The worst possible outcome. Okay. We have lost this war. And what are we left with? Oh, we still have our homeworld. Wow. And we lost our Ecumenopolis. We lost the Ecumenopolis. I think the only question now is, am I enough of a masochist to think that I can come back from this? I don't know how I could possibly do it without an Ecumenopolis. Because there's no, even with the Ecumenopolis, we barely had enough to get our, we so barely had enough alloys to start building a fleet, and then it came in and it smoked us. Yeah, overwhelming. What if I... If I moved everybody over there, all my envoys over there, and they're just going to continue to claim more systems. Well, let's pause for a minute. Think about this. I don't like to be defeated. I can tell you that right now. Could sell more of this. But we have a serious alloy problem. my Ecumenopolis went kaput. And then two of the planets here. There's a relic world there. And there's a ocean world there, and they're both guarded by beings that...
Incoming transmission.
Non-aggression pact from high beings. Okay, that's fine. We've lost this war. What can we do with... Okay, so here's a planet. Barana. What if we turn this into an Ecumenopolis? So what if we did this? And yeah, we're going to struggle because we have to earn money. This is amazing. What's our trade look like? Yeah, okay, so you go to there. Oh, you can't. What is it? Oh, you can't get through there. Yeah. That hurts. Well, and they didn't claim all these systems, so that left us alive. Well, now they're going to claim them now. I know it's been a really long episode. It's going on 90 minutes here, and I spent a lot of time just rambling in a very depressed state, but that's because very depressing things were happening. I felt bad after episode 5, but after episode 6 and 7, I felt a renewed sense of, okay, we can do this. We can come back from this. I feel much less confident that we can come back from this given the size of their fleets. I mean, they got a 40,000 fleet around there somewhere. Yeah, they got all these. I just don't. There's no way to find out exactly what their fleet power is. It just says overwhelming. So...
Scientific breakthrough achieved.
I don't care about the L gates, I can tell you that. Our research is now under 1K.
Scientific breakthrough
Well,
achieved.
here's what I'm going to do. Promise you, my viewers, not to just fold up shop here and quit when other people might. But I'm very quickly here at the end of the episode going to try to figure things out here. So this is a mining and research world. Food and consumer goods, bureaucracy, which we now is not a problem because we're way under it because we just lost a bunch of our sprawl. Research on this planet, they don't have enough housing. Okay, this would be a great ecumenopolis, but we need the jobs, so we have 21K of these. So let's sell some of this to get some money to try to fix these things. So you're there. We need generator city district. I need as many generator districts as you can get me. The habitat's back. Trade station. Because what's a habitat do? Click to set the colony designation. Habitat leisure cost. Trade station, research station, fortress station, foundry station. Because what is this? Leisure district, trade, habitation, factory, refinery. I'm going to do the trade. We're going to go for a trade district that offers 3 housing. Okay. Enforcers reduce crime. Capital abilities and housing buildings provide 1 more additional housing each. We'll need that. You are gaining leader experience gain. Okay, let's see if we can. Yeah, we're just going to replace you. We don't have as many governors because we don't. It's a frontier sector. Where is this at? Verne. You get your own sector now because you're all by yourself. So this person can go away. Recruit. Leader lifespan. Leader experience gain. Let's grab these. You can have leader experience gain first. Now, where's this? Okay, right there. Alright. Well. So this is bureaucracy. And they have, of course, a whole bunch of unemployed people. Let's all move them here. Okay. Well. Wow. I thought we were coming back. I thought we had a chance. Then this happened. It's not the end of the game. It sure feels like it. I guess I'm going to play the role of hopeful optimist and say, imagine if we came back from this. I still don't. I feel less like that's a possibility now than when I did after the episode 5. I still have the lingering ghost of the Tony Stark Enterprises episodes in my head from when we had to become a satrapy under a Marauder clan. And that was the only way to not get our butts completely kicked. This is a lot different. So what I'm going to do is also fleet supremacy edict off, turn research back on. We're going to need it. Yeah. Well, there you go, kids. It's the end of that episode. That was a nightmare. I would be really interested in the comments below on this episode. So as you're thinking about giving a thumbs up or a thumbs down, maybe subscribe to the channel. My Patreon's listed in the description below. All that jazz. Comments below. I really want to know the answer to. I really want to know your opinions to the answers to these questions. Do you think there's significant? Do you think I could have played significantly better to prevent this from happening, or do you think that the starting faction is just so flawed with so many handicaps that there was no amount of good play that was going to prevent this from happening? do you think that putting all 3 envoys over here earlier would have prevented these guys from going to war with me? I'm curious what everybody thinks about that. I'm also curious about the answer to this question. Am I just a really bad Stellaris player? Why am I even making content for it on my channel if I'm that bad? So, yeah, I can tell you. I can tell you, man, with the XCOM 2 coming to an end, and I really enjoyed playing that, even though I know I'm not a good enough player to play it on the hardest difficulty level. I'm thinking about putting XCOM 1 on the channel just because, again, I enjoy playing it. I want to put things on the channel that I enjoy playing, even if I'm not the best player at playing them. But this is making me question my own Stellaris knowledge, my own Stellaris ability. I didn't think I was the best Stellaris player by a long shot because I don't play the game on Grand Admiral difficulty. I don't play it on Grand Admiral scaling with crisis power at 25 times. I don't do that. But I also don't play with any kinds of mods that modify the gameplay. And I don't use any kind of hacks or cheats or anything. I just play the game. But if there are people playing the game on Grand Admiral, with or without scaling, who are completely curb stomping the game, then not only am I not a good Stellaris player, I'm definitely not as good as I thought I was. I'm probably a really bad Stellaris player. Well, maybe I shouldn't be making content for Stellaris on my channel at all. And maybe Wiley Garner came to the absolute wrong person when they were asking, hey, how do I handle this? Which makes me wonder what I should be focusing on my channel if not Stellaris. Because Crusader Kings 3 was about to come out in a couple of days as I'm recording this, and I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll jump on that. It's a Paradox game. It's much beloved. People keep wondering if I'm going to play it, but maybe Paradox games just aren't my thing. Maybe I should be playing something else. So, yeah. I think I'm going to go play some Battletech after this and feel good about myself. This is disaster, but I promise you, I'm not quitting on it until I hit the surrender button, which I didn't do. And this is what we're left with. So we will continue forth. And maybe this will turn into the greatest comeback in all of Stellaris history. Although I seriously doubt it. I think the 001 are probably going to finish this off. And if the 001 don't finish this off, guess what? When it gets to 2450 and the crisis starts coming around, if we're still left with this, we're done. We're doomed. But, hey, I'm going to learn something one way or another. I'm either going to learn how to beat this game in this type of a circumstance, or I'm going to learn that I'm just not very good and I should probably move on to something else. There's a lot of games that I love playing, so it doesn't have to be Stellaris. I understand I probably lose 90% of my viewership here, and maybe that would be a good thing. Maybe then I can just focus on other stuff. Who knows? All right, folks. College Fade signing off. Feeling down about my Stellaris abilities. So there you go. See you all on the next episode, and continue watching the Battletech stuff because I don't feel like I suck so bad at that. Thanks for watching, everyone.